sec. Alright, it looks like we're up. Hey Internet, how's it going? So we're just gonna be doing a short stream tonight, about an hour. Get some more work done. I really gotta get this finished. Been delaying it for so... not delaying, but working on it for so long. And right now all I really gotta do is fix up the grass. To give you an idea, I want it all to look like this. I have to fix that area. My monitor glitched out and drew a line through there. And I have a diamond composition for this. And I gotta clean up this grass, draw it more like with the spider. So not too much to do, just something that's gonna consume a little time. This will be a good test run. OBS has been giving me trouble lately. Wait. I can't tell if it's working or not. So, yeah, this will be a fun experiment then. I definitely want the smaller blades of grass as opposed to the long ones I had with the wolf. It doesn't obscure the drawing itself as much. And since I'm here, I'll just fix this lag up. not too sure how that line got there. Probably just glitching. You can actually see where it cut through. Yeah, my stream's in the red, so it's going to be crashing on me soon. Zoom out real quick, see how that's looking. Hey Liz, how's it going? Yeah, I'm almost done with this. I just have to do the small things and try a little more cleanup. Yeah, the frustrating thing about this is it's like a very particular method that you really can't rush it without screwing it up. So you really do have to have the patience to just do this for a good hour or two straight. Actually, here, let me try clean up this lake a little. That's good for now. And just to make sure I'm not going out of bounds. Right here. Should be starting over near these sections. Just so I can have a better frame to work with. Then I turn that off, and I can make out the border a lot easier. But yeah, I don't want to be doing this on my stream, because it's such a slow process and not very interesting to watch, but and I really need to get this finished soon. Been working on it for a good couple weeks. Although not a couple weeks in actual time. Like, altogether I'd say I put around, I'm guessing 8 hours, I'd say. Again, that's just a overestimation. Yeah, so as of right now, all I really have to do is add in the grass. So these aren't just two bodies floating in empty space. And I am planning to use this for my curriculum vitae, which is, for those of you who aren't aware, which is probably a lot, because it is a very, like, particular thing. A curriculum vitae is like a very fancy, art-related resume. So I will be adding text to the border, which explains all the negative space just floating there. don't know if you guys can hear that, but my dog is freaking out right now. I have no idea why. I'm assuming someone's here. Yeah, I'm gonna finish this today for certain. Meaning that if this isn't done by the time I gotta leave for work, I'll just have to stay up late, or technically early since I work nights, and finish it when I get home. I have to clean the legs up a little more too. Although they look fine. Probably just being paranoid. But yeah, I can't be too talkative while doing this either, because I gotta pay real close attention, make sure I don't go over any other lines. Yeah, I like to use, I call it the eyelash method for drawing grass, not glass. where it's basically on this curve, and drawing these arched lines in parallel with each other on this curve, just like a set of eyelashes. And we'll have the grass go as far as here. We want to make sure it's light around the spider itself. But yeah, I really gotta learn how to speak about other topics while drawing. Because I imagine these streams are boring. Since I'm just sitting here in silence. And it's essentially supposed to be a radio show. Yeah, I either draw grass like eyelashes like this, or into a blooming style like that. I don't know what else to call it. I'm not good with the words, that's why I use the pictures. And use very light lines for the grass near him. And then zoom way in for these little gaps. Yeah, you can sort of see these spots in here I want to try and get rid of. Without having to do the whole legs over. Which isn't that big of a deal. The legs themselves, they only take about a couple minutes each to draw. Since they're just such straightforward appendages. Okay, that's good. Actually here, let's lighten this leg up a bit since it is in the background. So it should be a little darker. And the other legs we see. Go back with the eraser. Filling some of this negative space now. Now that we're close enough to see how awful it looks. Yeah, I'm definitely starting to zone out just doing this. I'm sure I've said this before, in fact I'm certain I have on the stream, but there was just something hypnotic about drawing this way. What time is it? 9:45, so been at this about half an hour, I'd say. Let me finish up this one patch in his legs, then I'll zoom out and see how it's looking as a whole. Because up close like this, it probably won't read easily as grass, especially since it's black and white. Yeah, those lines are way too thick. Those last few. It all adds up, so just gotta be patient. Yeah, Tuesday I'm going out to see both the Pacific Rim movie and Ready Player One, which last Tuesday I was planning to see Pacific Rim, but one, it was raining, two, I want to see the 3D, and the only 3D showing there was, I overslept for, which, since I work nights, I can't catch the later screenings just to be safe. And three, Ready Player One comes out this weekend, and that seems like the perfect double feature for a Tuesday matinee price. Which I'm excited for both movies. I know Ready Player One has been getting a lot of flag before it even comes out, which, yeah, let's try and lighten this up a bit. Section's a little too much. But yeah, again, that's mostly just Twitter, which Twitter can be very sensitive, or what would the proper wording be? Over dramatic, I would say. Although I will say, I would be completely satisfied if Ready Player One is a completely horrible film and a complete god-awful mess. And I will enjoy it just as much if that's the case as it would be if it was an amazing film. So we'll turn off the composition guide. Okay, that was weird. My zoom tool wasn't working for a sec, and then we'll rotate it because spider is supposed to be on the bottom. And just zoom out a little more. Yeah, how's that looking, everyone? Yeah, the grass around the spider is way better than the grass I have for the wolf right now. I can actually probably go in there and add a little more light to it. Which movie had the spoilers in the promos, Liz? Pacific Rim or Ready Player One? Let's... I'm trying to draw these upside down. It's probably not going to come out okay. Rotate. Yeah, Liz, Ready Player One did have like a lot of like Easter eggs shown in the trailer, but and it doesn't tell you too much about the plot. And it's still going to be worth it to see those Easter eggs in the actual film. Plus, I'm sure there's way more they didn't show than they did. Yeah, I am looking forward to both. I have to look up how the reviews for the 3D were. Because I'm one of the few people who actually enjoys 3D films if it's done right. Which, usually the only times I can think of it's done really good is oddly enough DreamWorks. Or not oddly enough. But I think DreamWorks Animation does, or at least knows how to make the 3D look really interesting for animation. Let's zoom out again, see how that... Yeah, those changes make the rest look a lot better. And my monitor, the drawing monitor I have, it's amazing, but it's not very high def. I think it's like 380 to 420. So, even drawing like this, it does, you can see pixelation, even though the computer itself is reading this as around 720, I believe. Which I do have my TV right next to me, so I could always just glance or put the window over on the TV screen. But then that breaks like the flow of drawing. Yeah, see how that's reading more like grass? And before, it's all about layering. Layer after layer after layer after line after line after line. Get a little bit in there. Mind the fangs. And zoom out. Yeah, just real quick, I'll show you one of the really fun advantages of doing digital scratchboards like this. Since it's one black sheet and I'm actually erasing all these lines, I'm not adding them, I can just go on a layer under it with color. So I have the green. Again, you see me drawing there, you don't see anything, but then when I drag it across, it actually changes the color. Let me use a brighter green, since that's really dark. And you can color it like this. And I'm not 100% sure how it looks on your monitors because I do not have it as high resolution. But adding the color like this, you can see it read more like grass, right? I'm assuming you can. Oh yeah, when I zoom in like that, it looks great. Jeez, maybe I should color this actually. Yeah, I never read the book, Liz. I really should. Which, I'm actually rereading A Wrinkle in Time. But that's because it's an audiobook, so I can actually just play it and listen while doing other things. Which, how great are audiobooks? They let you read without having to actually use those icky words. Damn it, why did I do this? Now I want to see the whole thing in color. Oh well. Then, always just turn that off. Get the right on this new layer. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna sleep at all when I get home. Because I really want to finish this by tomorrow. And I'm gonna have to draw all this over again for the wolf. But you know what, the wolf won't be as hard because he doesn't have as many legs I gotta watch out for. And one of my major concerns for Ready Player One is, from what the people I know who have read that book said, is that the main character is kind of very, let's say, pretentious, and doesn't read as the most likable of characters. Which, it's Spielberg directing it, so I'm sure he's going to be much more likable in the actual film. I can't really think of Spielberg making a movie where the main character isn't likable in any way. And in fact, Jurassic Park's a perfect example of that, because everyone in the book, everyone in Jurassic Park is a total prick. Like, no one is likable in that book, from what I remember. But in the actual movie, with the exception of the lawyer, and even then, he wasn't a total a-hole, he was just, kind of a coward. I think everyone was pretty likable in that. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to it, and Ready Player One is coming out at probably the best possible time. Since it is very relevant. And it's nice to see a movie about the future that isn't like apocalyptic. Right? It's still pessimistic, but it's not like overly dark or end of the world, everyone's dead. Or Hunger Games rules where we have to have people killing each other. Nah, it's just you know, just this kind of poor guy, this overcrowded city, using escapism. Yeah, that's really looking good so far. What time is it? Alright, just a little past 10. I can still go for a while. I should definitely be able to finish the grass on the spider, at least. Plus, I'll be upset if the 3D in Ready Player One is bad. Because they do have, like, the VR helmets, going back to it being very topical. or relevant. And that's, like, the perfect excuse to have the 3D work. Like, for the sake of this film, the 3D should only be in the Oasis. In fact, I'm probably gonna have the 3D glasses. I'm definitely seeing it 3D. So, I'm gonna have the 3D glasses just off in the whenever he's not in the Oasis. Put them on whenever they are. Assuming the film isn't totally blurry. Yeah. Yeah, this is the hard part, just drawing the grass in this really tight space. Just have to be very particular, especially in these areas that probably no one's gonna bother looking at. But I'm very neurotic. I want it to be perfect. Or at least good enough. Yeah, that's, like, to me that's the hardest part about being an artist, is learning when to just say good enough and finish a piece. Because otherwise you'll be working on one drawing for the rest of your life. And I'll do that there, just say good enough with that, move on here. And you do have to know the difference of when it is good to say good enough, or when you should say just a little more work there. Because it is fine to take shortcuts and take a couple cheats. Professionals do it all the time. In fact, they have to do it all the time, otherwise they would never meet their deadlines or ever finish any projects. That's why people use rotoscopes. Or just recycle previous pieces. Like, the Wreck-It Ralph trailer is the perfect example for that. Because if you've seen it, they actually use the child in it. It is the exact same child model they used in Moana for Moana. and it's perfectly understandable and acceptable that they do it there, because to render an entirely new character from scratch for such a very split-second scene would require a lot of time and effort, which would be better suited put towards some other scene, such as like the climax or whatever else happens in that film. I don't know how it's gonna play out. In fact, Disney does that a lot lately. Which, again, the best example of how Disney does it a lot is basically the model they use for any female character. They've constantly just like reused the same one. Which, again, the And in Big Hero 6 is the same render model as both Elsa, Anna, and their mother in Frozen. And I want to say it's actually the same, if not very similar, to the one used in Tangle. Now granted, I've only seen Tangle once, as opposed to the other ones I've seen on a couple occasions, and even then that was a long time ago. But just do like a side-to-side comparison. And again, Disney can get away with that for two reasons. One, they are crunched on time to try and put out a movie every year or two. And the effort and time it would take to create all new characters from scratch for such minor roles, although not minor roles for Frozen exactly, but you know what I mean, could be better spent putting time into films like Zootopia or Moana. What other Disney film just came out? I'm probably thinking of Coco, but that's Pixar, so that's technically a different studio, although they still have a lot of the same resources and people as far as I've come to understand. And I imagine that would actually make like merchandising a lot easier too, which it's like Barbie, you have the same model, you just make a few slight tweaks and you can sell it as a completely different toy. Again, another reason Disney can get away with that so easily is because Disney has spent decades just establishing a very specific and recognizable brand, which honestly, that's kind of why I prefer DreamWorks to Disney, at least in terms of film animation, because DreamWorks is way more experimental, where you can take any film Disney made and you'll be able to tell right away it's Disney based on the style and animation. Like even Zootopia, that didn't use human models, but it is a very Disney-esque style of drawing animals still. And you can just look at one frame and say, that's Disney. Whereas DreamWorks is far more experimental and far more diverse in what they use. To where all films have, well, not all films, but a lot of films have their own unique style to them. Like Kung Fu Panda doesn't look like The Croods, or Home doesn't look like How to Train Your Dragon. No, they're all like very identifiable, original looking films. And I admire that a lot. It's probably one I would that's why I would want to work for DreamWorks over Disney if given the opportunity. Although I would not turn down, well, maybe I'd turn down Disney, it depends. I have heard a lot of horror stories of how Disney employees can be mistreated, but I don't know if they do that for their like established animation staff. A lot of it, I'm sure, is like a lot of the stories I've heard centered around interns. Which, yeah, although most companies are horrible to their interns. And if you want to prove, but yeah, if Disney or DreamWorks want to prove that wrong, give me a job. I'll happily work to prove me wrong. In fact, DreamWorks is hiring right now. It's one of the reasons I want to finish this ASAP. Not ASAP, immediately. Like, they essentially mean the same thing, but they're not. But yeah, part of me does regret drawing it like this, just because I get lost in the sort of scratching for this grass. I could just do this for hours. Or at the very least until my eyes start to bleed from staring at my monitor for so long. Yeah, exactly, Liz. Better to be good enough and on time than perfect and late. Sorry, you said that a while ago, but just reading it now. I really gotta learn how to use OBS correctly. Yeah, like, but my professor back at college, one of them, he always said, it's called a deadline because if you don't meet that line, then it's dead. And that's true, you need to meet the deadline. That's why it's actually important to learn how to take shortcuts and how to cheat a little. Take that lesson to heart, kids. When things are hard and you don't have time, cheat. It's better to cheat than to do it at your own pace. I am a terrible role model, which I'm okay with. Hey, Thomas, how you doing, man? Assuming you heard that. Hope I didn't crash on me a lot. I want to avoid more. Yeah, I'm gonna start doing commissions. Hopefully this Saturday I'll post notifications about it. And I'm gonna also do a monthly free giveaway for art, which I also gotta mention. That's good. Let's add more grass to this section. Oh, good for you, Liz. That'll be a fun road trip. And yeah, Thomas, I just have to figure out how pricing is gonna work, cause like I have a basic idea, but I still want to factor in like if it's I'm probably gonna focus mainly on digital stuff, but I also do drawings like on technical drawings, so I need to figure out how to charge based on shipping, which I'm probably just gonna notify immediately that shipping will directly be handled by them. And the cost of the mediums, which because I haven't had much luck in finding a permanent art related job, so I figured commissions are a good way to at least try to build my portfolio up a bit. Excuse me. Wait, you got any advice for me about that, Thomas? Well, I'm talking to you too. You going to Omaha for anything special, Liz, or just 'cause? Mm, yeah, let's say good enough with this. Actually, I should touch this area up a bit. Another great example of why saying good enough earlier on might be better. Because if I actually kept all the legs like that, it wouldn't stick out as much here. But since I did touch up those legs, now these legs kind of need the attention for the grass too. Even though they probably would have been completely acceptable as they were. 10:30. Yeah, I gotta be working about 20 minutes, which I only live a 5-minute walk from work, so that's no problem. There we go. Zoom out. And that's how that's looking. I'll have to rotate it back to normally looks. And I'll have to clean that up a bit in that section. Then redo all this grass for under the wolf, which, again, I don't have to avoid nearly as much negative space with the wolf as I did the spider. So it won't take me nearly as long. Yeah, Thomas, I was asking about, like, what advice you would have for me to start commissions. Oh, Liz, that sounds awesome, going on a road trip for a zoo to draw, which, in fact, maybe I'll do that, because a really good friend of mine since high school actually just got a job, a permanent job, at the Tampa Bay Aquarium in Florida. Which, granted, it's Florida, but still. And it would be cool just to, like, go down and hang out with him once he does start working there. I don't know why I'm using the lasso tool. Get the brush. Nope. Still have the white selected. Just clean some of that grass up. I think that's what I miss most about living in the city. Just being able to go wherever to draw things. Because I did go to college in New York, which is an amazing place to learn to draw because there's so much, like, even just walking around broke, just go to Central Park or Manhattan or even the back roads would qualify as back roads in New York City. Yeah, there's a lot of great places to go to draw. Like, Coney Island is actually free to walk around. It costs an arm and a leg to ride each ride. But I would just walk the pier and draw the roller coasters themselves or the stands. Go to Nathan's for lunch, because that's a world famous place. And yeah, I remember I went to the aquarium in New York, which at the time it was like right after Sandy, not even a year after Sandy hit, so they had a lot of construction going on. But I still got some really cool sort of subjects to draw, especially with, like, the coral or the rock structures for the seal exhibits. And it's easier to talk when I actually have people to talk to. Or respond to, in this case. I gotta touch him up a bit. Actually, no, I don't. It's very small things I won't even read when printed or viewed as a PDF, so I'm not gonna concern myself with it. Let me get the marquee tool here. I'll just clear up this bit of grass. Hang on one sec. Alright, my door was kind of being blown open. Needed to see if it was my dog or a poltergeist or something. Yeah, let me just clean this little bit of grass up and then we'll take one final look. Oh. It actually looks way better. Let me try that with this spot. And just a little bit. Too much. There we go. So this is how my resume's coming. So all this dark empty space here and around the actual drawing I'm going to fill with the text. Yeah, alright. I gotta get to work in about 10 minutes and it is raining outside, so thanks you two for stopping by, and thanks to anyone else who stopped by to see this, and I'll probably do another stream at 5 in the morning Eastern time, which, if you, for whatever reason you two are up, feel free to stop by. Yeah, anyway, thanks again to anyone who stops by, Again, I do these streams quite regularly, so if you want to see me draw some more, then please subscribe, and then if there's anything you want to see me draw in particular, leave a comment below. So, alright.